Okay? So, if this was a normal class like calculus, I would go over the first chapter, I would finish the last section, and then you look right below chapter 2.6 on your outline, and it should say what? Unit 1 test. Well, you're going to have a Unit 1 test, but it's just not going to be right after Unit 1. It's going to be around Unit 2. Crap. I didn't put the block in there this morning. The Unit 1 test is a lot like Unit 2. Unit 2 is a little bit more in depth with the quadratics, but by the time we finish Unit 2, it's going to refortify the Unit 1 material. So, what does that mean? If I give you the Unit 1 test right now, some of you may make a lower grade than if you took it at the end of Unit 2. You see what I'm saying? The Unit 2 fortifies Unit 1. So if I wait and give you the Unit 1 test with the Unit 2 test, you'll score, chances are, most of the class will score a higher grade on Unit 1. If I give it to you now, some of you may not make as good. Okay? And of course, some of y'all invented algebra, so y'all make 108. Okay? But that's the way I do it. So for the online class and for this class, we're going to finish 2.6 today, but we're going to go into Chapter 3 the next time we meet because I want to get that under your belt. And when we finish Chapter 3, I'll go over the Unit 1 test in class, I'll go over the Unit 2 test in class, and I will give you the test and both of them, and you'll have like 10 days to do both of them. Okay? Question, gripe, complaint. So, all those people that are spazzing and all those people that are having heart attacks, you just need to chill. Take some, what is it, Xanax? Take something, all right? You need to chill because I know they're having fits, but I do things different. Now, this is the only time I do this. I do it with Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. After Chapter 3, when I finish a section, then I go over the test, I assign the test dates, I assign the homework dates, and everything's, by the book. But Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, I do it together. And when you see Chapter 3, you're going to say, oh, I see why he's doing this. You're going to see it. Okay. All right, so with that being said, let's go into the homework questions. And I'm going to go over these questions that were sent. They're not 110 questions, but y'all can use them. They're 109 questions, but they're still what we're doing right now. Okay, so with that being said, let's jump into the homework questions. And our first question is, let's see, 2.1. This is 2.111, 2.115, and then 2.3, so we'll go over it. Now, again, this is the question in the book. If you go to 2.1, and just come on in whenever, that's fine. And you go to number 53 in the book, it will look like this question. If you look at number 11, that's the one you need to write down. That's what it looks like in your homework. So, all of you that's doing online homework, it looks like number 11. So write the question down. If it ever comes up. What the heck? Is it not working? Damn Russians have done infiltrated. Okay, it says, based on the ordered pairs seen in the table, make a conjecture about whether the function is even or odd. Well, I'm going to take up my handy-dandy Excel spreadsheet. And the reason I use the Excel spreadsheet is because it's easier than using that calculator on the board with the mouse. It's just very difficult. Okay, so I'm going to pull this down, and I'm just going to type them in right here. -3, -2, -1. Now we're going to look at this two different ways. 0, 1, 2, 3. and then 8, 6, 4, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Everybody with me? All right, now, let's look. All the x's there's no different in the x's. The 2 doesn't give us 2 y's. So, -3 and 8, -2 and 6 is decreasing, and then it's increasing. So it looks kind of like a parabola, maybe. What do y'all think?
Yes.
So let's look at it. Now, how do we know it looks like a parabola? Because just what I do is I put a line right here mentally. I put a line right down through here. So that's your x-axis. And what's happening up here? As -3, 8, -2, 6. What's happening? It's decreasing. And then what's it doing? It's increasing. So if you turn your head sideways and put a line there and look at the y values, you see a parabola. Now, that's the easiest way I can tell you to look at it. Or you can hit insert and you can hit scatter plot and you feel good about yourself. Okay, it's not a parabola, but you know what I'm talking about. That's what it looks like, okay? So that's a good test question. What's the domain? With any function, it's all real numbers. Now, this question does not specify whether it starts or ends at -3 and +3. So you need to think, okay, if the directions terminate x, then the domain is -3 to +3. If the domain is -3 to +3, what's the range? 8 to 8. Now, since I do not have these connected, I have to say the domain is -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Close parentheses. Okay, or close bracket. And then the range is 8, 6, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. Close bracket. Why? Because I'm not telling you you can use the fractions for x. I can't 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 0.8. I'm not telling you because they're not joined. Okay? So, but is this a function? Yes, because vertical line test says, and there's no double y's here. In other words, you don't have a 2, you don't have a 6 and a -6 for 2. All right? So, that's a good thing. It's a function. Is it odd or even? Well, it's symmetrical around the y-axis. So what is that? It's what? Even. So it would be an even function, and that's good to know. Okay? And you know the domain and range. Now, if you take the parameters off, the domain would be all what? All real numbers. And what would the range be? From 2 to what? Infinity. So make sure you know the domain and range with parameters and without parameters. Okay? Now, I don't know how to fill all this out, but okay. It's even because f of -x. Okay, we got to plug it in. Well, we don't know what it is. But the law says that if f of -x is equal to f of x, then we're good. Okay? And that's that question. It's a good test question, but you shouldn't spend all day on it, okay? It's not one of those that you need to spend you should spend less than a minute on that. If you want to put it in your calculator, knock yourself out. If you want to plot it, all you got to do is sketch it. I mean, it's not difficult, okay? But why do people send it in? People send it in because they don't know what to do, okay? You can sketch it. You can put it on an Excel spreadsheet. You can plot it by points. You can put it on your graphing calculator, okay? Then after you do that, then you should see that it's symmetrical around the y-axis, and this is the rule that I gave you that day. There's two rules. F of -x is equal to f of x, and f of -x is equal to -f of x. Even and odd. Capiche? And you feel good about yourself. Next one. This is number 15. So we did number 11 and we did number 15. So everybody should get 2 right on their 2.1 homework. 2.1 homework, yeah. Each function is either even or odd. Use f of negative x to state whatever. All right, so let's do this one on the board. Let's take our handy-dandy function, which is 5x to the third minus x. F of x is equal to 5x to the third minus x. Now, let's highlight this. What is that function? It's a cube. So chances are your parent graph is going to look something like what? Which is symmetrical around the what? Around the origin. So we know that much, but let's go ahead and plug in. We need to see if f of negative x is equal to f of x for even. And we know that's not going to work because we know that from the parent graph it's probably an odd function if it's that. So I'm going to plug in negative x, 5 negative x to the third power minus negative x. Okay? And that's going to give me negative 5x to the third power plus what? And that's not equal to that. But if I was to take a negative f of negative x, which is this, that's f of negative x, and set it equal to negative f of x, would I get the same thing? So let's take negative and take our f of x, 5x to the third minus x, and distribute that negative. And we get negative 5x cubed plus what? We got a match. So that means what? It's an odd function because of that right there. Now, there's 2 ways that you're telling yourself that this is an odd function. One, you know your parent graphs. But if you hadn't learned those parent graphs, you have no idea. I bet y'all sent me another one, didn't you, Pendleton? All right? That you can do it that way, or you can plug in negative x. Which is the most sure way? That one, because you can get a function, not many, but you can get a cubic or a fifth or a seventh or whatever that is not symmetrical, okay? But there's very few. Most of the time you can go with the sketch. Good? Okay, next question. And this is why I don't have office hours, because students usually send questions to me in class. Except, you know, some students try to break an apple with a banana and email me their questions. This is 2.3. We ain't even got 2.6 yet. Heck come. All right. This is number 4 on 2.3. Number 4 on 2.3. This is a test question. All right. Now, why is it a test question? Because I want you to be able to do those things with now I don't care about the way they do it, okay? I don't care about the way you graph it. I just care that you understand how to do this, all right? It says use transformations to sketch y1, y2, check by graphing in an appropriate viewing, blah, 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 blah. Okay? What I want you to do is, I wonder if I can copy this. Nope, I cannot. Okay, write those 3 things down right quick, because I'm going to go to the whiteboard and we're going to pull out, because this is going to kind of lead you into chapter 3. So let me make it big enough for you. All right, write those 3 down for me. What? We don't got you forgot to put about. Yeah, and it's not mixing up right. What? G fuel. Yeah, that's what it is. G fuel. Listen, if it had vodka in it, y'all would know. Y'all would smell it. If it had tequila in it, I wouldn't be dumb enough to put tequila in it. Tequila makes you do crazy stuff. Y'all got them written down? There's just 3 of them, so it shouldn't take you all day. Please write them down correctly. Don't write them down wrong and tell me the wrong thing, and then we end up, having a problem. Has everybody got them written down? What do y'all? Where you got them written down? Okay, I trust y'all. Guys, I don't trust. Y'all set me up. All right. Set me up, make me do wrong things. That's the guy thing. I don't know how they want to do that. All right, what's the first one?
X squared minus 5.
Okay, f of x is equal to x squared minus 5.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to write that. I'm going to rewrite that in blue. F of x is equal to x squared minus 5. And I'm going to use black to reference the parent graph, okay? I could use white, but then you wouldn't be able to see it. Okay? The 2 neutral colors are black and white. And if anybody wants to know why I'm using black, if I used white, you wouldn't be able to see it. So, here's my parent graph. I want you to draw in your notes the parent graph, and we know it's a what function? It's a parabola or parabola, so it looks like that. No sneezing in class, please. And there is your parabola. And I don't know why it does that. I don't know. I still haven't had training on this board. We've had it for 3 years.
One day you'll get training.
One day.
I feel like we have the same conversation.
You do what?
No, one day you'll get training.
One day.
I still don't believe it.
He's going to have to go solve and teach himself.
Oh, if I could videotape some of the meetings we've had, just like the one when we had the math department meeting, and I fought to Skype in, and there was 7 mathematics instructors up there at Pendleton, and this was down, and it took them 30 minutes to figure out why. Yeah. Anyway, so there's the parent function. Now, what if I wrote this? What if I wrote f of x is equal to x minus 5 quantity squared minus 5? Well, that would be, since the 5 is connected to the x, the function within the brackets or the parentheses or whatever. That's a horizontal shift of 5 to the what? Right. So then I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this, since it's outside the brackets, would be down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this black graph that I started with, since this is 1, there's nothing really changing about the actual orientation of the graph. And I would just draw this same black graph right there. Okay? So this is the horizontal shift because it's attached, and within the brackets or the braces or the parentheses or the absolute value marks, if that number is attached to the x, then you have a horizontal shift. Since this one is not attached to the x, it's attached to the function after the fact, the blue is a what shift? This is a vertical shift of 5 down. So the answer to this question is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your function looks like this. Now write that down by hand because we're going to put it on the graph here in just a second. Okay, does everybody understand that?
Sure.
That's why I wanted to show you, and I'll put f of x at the top. F of x is equal to x squared. That's the parent graph. And that's why you have brackets. I added the brackets here because I couldn't put x minus 5 quantity squared minus 5 without the brackets, because then you get really confused, or the parentheses. So that's why you have the two different types. All right, what's the second question?
1 over 3x
1 over 3x. F of x.
squared.
Okay, let me put it in blue. F of x is equal to what? 1 over 3
X, that's in parentheses. Squared. Minus 5.
minus 5. Okay? Now, this one is another parabola. Okay, so I'm going to write up here, this is the parent graph, f of x is equal to x squared. Now, of course, it's got a fraction in it, so most of you will do what? Quit. And that's good.
Gonna make the origins.
Yeah, just quit. F of x is equal to 1/3 x minus 2 quantity squared minus 5. Now, I'm going to draw my parent graph. That's x squared. There is my parent graph. Okay. Now if I was doing the red one, what is, well, first of all, that's a binomial square, and then we got to do something with this one too, because this is not finished. We got to rewrite both of them. And the blue would be f of x is equal to 1/9 x squared minus what? 5. Now, I disagree with the homework here, because 2 or 3 semesters ago, they said that it's supposed to be 1/3. And that's not correct. If you have something in the parabola, in the parentheses, squared, you've got to square that 1/3. You've got to. All right? But we're not going to go there. Okay? I hope this is not, I hope they've either changed it, or you may get it wrong, because it's supposed to be very wide because of that 1/9. This one, using your shortcuts, would be f of x is equal to 1/9 x squared minus 4/3 x plus 4 minus 5. And of course that would be, you know, a quadratic, and then you'd have to do completing the square. We're not going there, okay? So we'll just forget that one right now. All right, the main thing is this is a vertical shift, and this is your horizontal shift. Horizontal and vertical. I'm just trying to get y'all to see that there's 2 different scenarios. There's where you don't have anything in here with a minus or a plus, and then there is a minus or a plus. That's 2 different animals. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, now this is a vertical shift. This is a vertical shift of -5. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now our vertex is right there. And this 1/9 means what?
It's wide.
It's wide. Now I'm going to make it really wide, like that. Okay, now you might have to put a point in there, or they may say stretched, but they're wanting the 1/3. Now that's why I sent it to the publisher, and I said, that's not right. I said, because anything squared, you have to square both of them. And they said 1/3. They said orientation of 1/3, and that's not right. But anyway, this is your answer. It's wider. Okay, so make sure you make that second one wider. All right, what's the third one?
2x in parentheses squared minus 5.
Okay, so black. Say it one more time. F of x equal what?
2x in parentheses squared.
I'm sorry, hold on. F of x is equal to what?
2x in parentheses squared minus
2x in parentheses.
Yes.
Quantity squared
Yes. Minus 5.
minus 5.
Yes.
Again, this is going to be rewritten as f of x is equal to 4x squared minus 5.
Excuse me?
Yes.
So do you write the test and so we will do that or just the...
I don't use this question on a test.
Okay.
I use the content, but I do not use this certain question because it's not right. I will not put a question on there that I don't agree with. Okay, yeah, I pick and drag them. I pull them over and drag them. So I choose what goes on my test. Okay, so here's my parent graph. And what kind of vertical shift we need?
5.
5 down. And then what does the 4 tell you?
It's narrow.
It's going to be narrow. Okay, now let's talk about these three. I'm going to go back to the first one. Because this is what they want you to, that's what they want you to do in the homework. Okay, this one, the blue, what's being done on the x-axis as far as the difference between the black and the blue? Is there anything being done along the x-axis or the y-axis? Is it the same or is it different? Is the black and the blue the same or different?
They're
They're
different.
the same.
They're the same.
They're the same orientation.
Right.
Same orientation. But what's the only difference? The vertical shift. So you would type in a vertical shift of negative what? So that's what you would type in on the graph. And we'll show you that in just a minute. Okay? So the next one. The next one, this is where I disagree with the homework. All right? The next one, is there a difference between the parent graph, which is the black graph, and this one?
Yes.
Tell me what's happening.
Down.
Okay? It's being compressed along the what? The y-axis, put a C, or it's being what?
Stretch.
Stretched along the x-axis. I don't know, I don't care which one you use, but, and by what? Now this is where I disagree. The homework says 1/3. And I don't know if they've changed it because it's been 2 semesters since we've been using this book. You did? And you typed in 1/9 and it marked it wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not wrong. Okay, because you have to multiply that. It's supposed to be 1/9, but they're going to ask you for this. So to get it right, you need to type in what? That it's stretched along the x-axis or compressed along the y-axis, whichever one you want to choose, by 1/3. But as you're going to see in chapter 3, this is going to be squared. I don't know why they do that, and I've sent 2 or 3 emails and have changed it, or I'm wrong, but I don't know why we do it in chapter 3, but we don't do it in chapter 2. Okay, I'm through venting. Last one. What's going on with this one? Well, we got a vertical shift, and what's going on as far as the x-axis? Compression. And what's going on with the y-axis? Stretched. So whichever one you want to use, by a factor of the real answer is 4. The answer they want is probably 2. I know that can be confusing, but I didn't write that homework question. I have sent emails saying it's incorrect or it's misleading, but they probably haven't changed it. And we all know that's probably because they're Russian. All right, so here we go. Let's see what happens. All right, so I guess I'm doing all three on one graph. We know that this one is a parabola. It's got a vertical shift of -5 down. Okay, see, there it is. There's where you're, okay, a vertical stretch, we don't have anything, so that would be a 0. Horizontal stretch would be 0. And that should be it. Okay. I'm looking, vertical shift. Does that go with this? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, that goes with this. Okay. It is reflective around the what? The y-axis, correct? And save, right? Okay.
We did it.
What did I do wrong?
The
I thought I hit
orientation should be Y.
the what?
The orientation should be Y.
Okay. So let me change that. What? -5. Let me clear this. Why's it got
You have to click on the line.
-5? What?
You have to click on the line.
I have to click on the line? Okay, thank you. Where is the, where you say the orientation would be 1? I don't see orientation. Horizontal stretch. Okay, I guess that means 1. Okay. Save. Okay, there. Now, why didn't it erase the first one?
There you go.
Hit delete.
The mouse tool.
Press delete.
Thank you. Okay, now, let's go to the second one. Go away. This is why I don't like this question. I mean, I like the multiple choice ones where is this the vertical and horizontal shift? That's the ones I like. Because this, you can pull your hair out using this thing. All right, so -5. And then we've got a vertical shrink, a vertical horizontal stretch, 1/3 and 1/3. I guess that's what they want. This is very confusing. And it's reflective around the y-axis. Do we have a horizontal? We have a vertical shift of -5. I thought I'd done put that. Just gonna say it's wrong. Okay, does that look like what we had? This needs to be -5. Okay, I think I put it, okay, I know what I'm doing wrong. I put it down there and it didn't put it. I have to put a -5, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I was doing wrong. There we go. All right, what do I do now? Do I do the last one now? Okay, and I'm just going to put that. Now we got a what? A -5. Somebody tell me, I can't see my own question.
-5.
-5 on the vertical shift.
Yes.
This is about a pain in the butt. 2,
Vertical stretches.
2 and 2. Well, it should be 4, but it's 2. Because they don't want you to do that yet. I guess they're waiting for chapter 3 to do that.
I think they fixed it.
Did they fix it?
I think so. I'm not exactly sure.
I put it in.
Well,
Check. Oh, they did fix it. Good.
No, I think it's because you put the 2 vertical and horizontal stretch.
Well, it is. I'm going to try 4. If they maybe fixed it. I hope they fixed it. And check answer. Okay, let's just hit check answer and see what the answers are. They didn't put it in there? They don't put the answer in there?
it was the one on the left.
Okay, well, y'all see what I'm doing. I'm not going to fool with this question because 1, it's not right, and 2, the correct answer is this. I thought that's what I had. Okay, Okay, so that's a good question, but it's a sucky question, okay? It's a good question. The data is good. The way the question is written is not good, okay? And you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to chapter 3. You're going to say, well, why were we doing that in chapter? Yeah, exactly.
Start going into convulsions and
Yeah.
stuff.
What?
We're gonna start going into convulsions.
Yeah, why is it time to go? Great, it's time to go. What time is it? Can't do anything in here. Let's just, yeah, exactly. Stupid. Let's just go to 50 minutes. Better to have 350 minutes. Yeah, whatever. Thanks to Pendleton. The sun revolves around Pendleton.
Yeah, I don't-
Okay.
Pendleton.